Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'd like to talk about Doctor Who once again, relating to the Day of the Doctor, an episode that I was absolutely thrilled with. I've watched it several times now that I have it on DVD, and I love it. I mean, from beginning to end, it was phenomenal. That is not to say, however, that it couldn't have been even better. And I've given this a lot of consideration over the last couple of days since I got the DVD and have been watching it. Things that could have been done within the confines of the length of it and the way it was produced that could have been shifted around just a little bit here and there that I think would have really appeased a broader range of Whovian, from classic series to modern. And one of the first and foremost things I want to talk about is, as we open with the episode, of course we're going right back to Coal Hill School, going all the way back, hearkening back to the very first episode ever, An Unearthly Child, where, of course, Susan Foreman, the Doctor's granddaughter, attended with teachers Ian Chesterton and Barbara Wright, who were the first companions, effectively whisked off into time and space with the Doctor and his granddaughter. And as we see the Coal Hill School sign, there, as the headmaster, is I. Chesterton. Ian Chesterton being, of course, as portrayed by William Russell in the classic series for a couple of years, I think. You know, it would have been really easy to have had that actor, who is still very much alive today, as the guy who comes in and tells Clara that her doctor called and, you know, expressing concern for her. I don't see why they couldn't have done that. It would have been a really funny wink, wink, nudge, nudge if he said, oh, you got a call from your doctor, and, like, you know, he's out of the loop, that this is actually his doctor, the same guy who took him around time and space with Barbara and Susan. I think that would have been really just clever and fun and really would have driven the point home that this is celebrating 50 years, the start of the phenom that is Doctor Who. I don't understand why that wasn't done. Another aspect, again, using what ended up, you know, being in the episode proper, the movie proper, the moment. I think this was a device that was absolutely intriguing and brilliant. I loved seeing Billie Piper back. I'm a big fan of her in Doctor Who as well as work outside of Doctor Who, and I loved having her back. I loved her portrayal from everything from being impish and sort of humorous to dramatic and poignant, and I loved how they sort of displayed the moment. But I started thinking, as a plot device, this would have been the perfect opportunity to have some of those classic Doctor actors coming back, classic companion faces and stuff like that, because everybody would have been older. You could have easily passed it off with a line about linking to the Doctor's psyche or his physical aspect, and people would have looked aged or different from, you know, when he last saw them. But you could have had, you know, as different aspects of the conscience of the moment, sort of different facets of the mind. And that could have been embodied by Susan, for one, reprised by Carol Ann Ford, who would have been, of course, much older than she was the last time he saw her. But she could have been there to say, you know, you're killing families. You're going to be killing families. Think of me in that regard, you know, and this would have been something to plague the Doctor's psyche. He could have also seen past versions of himself. Colin Baker comes to mind, where, you know, there was a couple episodes where he either picked up a weapon or he pushed people into acid, that kind of thing, and the Doctor could have really faced the fact that he has killed before and had to weigh that more heavily. And you could have had the other classic Doctor actors that are still surviving today. Of course, Tom Baker, as I say, Colin Baker, Peter Davison, Sylvester McCoy, Paul McGann, all being aspects of the moment's psyche, conscience, as well as like Adric. Adric would have been a really good one, since the Doctor kind of had to let Adric die. And again, it would have been weighing life and death, and that's the exact choice that the War Doctor had to make. Now, another biggie for me, of course, as far as it's really a shame that we didn't get to see this, is Christopher Eccleston taking part. There's been articles recently talking about that. You know, there was a provisional agreement that Eccleston brought forth, saying he would have liked this particular director, Joe Ahern, I think, from Series 1, who directed like 5 of those episodes, and that's a reasonable sort of, you know, wanting. You know, he wants the best work to be done, and he wants to be as comfortable and have everyone else as comfortable playing the Doctor and playing all the companions or what have you that would have appeared in the story. And the thing that really kind of upsets me is that, you know, if the articles are to be believed, Moffat out of hand, just dismiss this. He wouldn't have it one way or the other, and that's why we don't have Eccleston in it. Apart from the few brief, segments we see him in. But the thing that really irks me is toward the end. With the regeneration of the War Doctor, you only see sort of the forehead and nose of Eccleston's face appearing, and they cut it off. There's a fan edit on YouTube that is much more phenomenal, where you see the full face of Christopher Eccleston. Why couldn't we have done that? Why couldn't we have had that officially on screen? Why'd they have to cut it off? Why couldn't we at least see his face? Even if he didn't appear in the episode, physically interacting with the other doctors and such, still no reason they couldn't have done that unless they did it purposely to slight him. And, the only other thing that I can say is sort of a little bit of a nitpick for me personally, and it's one that I've heard other people talking about, is the final shot. As epic as it is supposed to be, the execution of it was not quite up to par with some of the things I've seen. I've shared images on my Facebook page, and even in a video I mentioned one, fan art of, multiple doctors in a poster, and these just look like works of art. Whereas this last sort of shot, they had these stand-ins, and they, CG'd faces over them. Tom Baker's, it seemed like they purposely harkened back to that horrible wax dummy from, the Five Doctors, the production imagery and stuff from when that was created. And I don't know, these are things that I think if they had just shifted around a little bit, as brilliant, as wonderful and awesome as The Day of the Doctor was, for me, it could have been that much better, and it could have probably appealed a lot more to people ranging from classic Whovians to modern. And so yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on these ideas of what they could have done to maybe have made it better than it was and pushed it that much more through the roof as a 50th anniversary, celebrating 50 years of this phenom that is Doctor Who. And yeah, otherwise, I hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you later. Peace.